a global phenomenon watched by hundreds of millions.
Squid Game.
Squid Game.
Squid Game.
Squid Game.
Squid Game.
But at the heart of it all, a man on the brink.
In my mind, I'm not that happy. I'm struggling every day and night.
I read that you were so stressed during the first series of Squid Game that you lost 6 teeth.
I think that 8 or 9 teeth.
8 or 9 teeth? Wow.
Hwang Dong-hyuk has endured crippling stress, overcome mounting debts, and sacrificed his well-being, all in the pursuit of creating one of the most iconic television shows of all time. This is the genius behind Squid Game Unpacked. Squid Game may have been released to global fanfare in 2021, but the idea was first conceived in 2008. When success seemed like a distant pipe dream. At the time, Hwang's family were, in his own words, very poor and in a lot of debt. He was even forced into selling his laptop to get by.
먹고 살기도 힘든 시절이어서 그냥 어떻게 다음 작품을 어떻게 하나 해봤으면 좋겠다라고 시작한 거라.
To escape these financial woes, he spent hours in comic book cafes, immersing himself in works like Battle Royale and Liar Game. Both were adapted for the big screen, the former a staple of the survival genre, with students forced to fight to the death. The latter a game which involves manipulating people into giving up their money.
아, 씨, 나라도 이런 게임 뭔가 있으면 한번 참여해보고 싶다. 진짜 일확천금을 준다면. 진짜 그런 너무 단순한 제 경제적인 여건에서 나온 어떤 절박함과 무슨 거창한 의식을 가지고 시작한 것도 아니고 저도 그냥 진짜 말도 안 되는 걸로 한번 목숨 걸고 큰 돈 걸고 하는 그런 게임을 하나 해보면 재밌지 않을까?
Squid Game is undeniably influenced by these comics, but its originality would be in its simplicity.
뭐 대부분 보면 게임물들 보면 막 너무 어려운 문제들 내고 막 그걸 천재가 와서 풀고 막 이러는데 저는 천재도 아니고 제가 참가하면은 그럼 저런 게임은 이길 수도 없을 테니 내가 참가하면 무슨 게임을 하면 내가 살아남아서 돈을 벌 수 있을까? 진짜 그런 막연한 생각을 하다가 그냥 애들 어릴 때 그냥 애들 놀이 가지고 되게 심각하게 가서 하면 웃길 것 같다. 그럼 나도 한번 해볼 수 있을 것 같다. 막 이런 진짜 아주 너무너무 심각하게 단순하고 유치하고 생존적인.
Hwang's original script was intended to be a film. He pitched it to multiple production companies in 2009, but it was judged to be too dark, too unrealistic, and was roundly rejected. The world wasn't ready yet. In the meantime, Hwang directed 4 feature films. His work often sought to confront big societal issues, and some of these themes would serve as the building blocks for Squid Game's dystopian take a decade later.
I look like my mom? 네 엄마 젊을 때랑 똑같아.
His feature directorial debut focused on adoption, inspired by the true story of a Korean American trying to reconnect with his biological father on death row. This was followed by a seminal film in Silenced. Based on the real-life events at a Korean school for deaf students, where young people were physically and sexually abused by their teachers. The film had a massive impact in Korea. The school in question was shut down, and the case reopened, with one faculty member given a 12-year sentence, and a new law was introduced, abolishing the statute of limitations for sexual crimes targeting children under 13 and the disabled. After the film's release, Hwang said, "I took up filmmaking because I was so frustrated by all these unresolved social issues I saw. You can't change society with just one movie, but looking at the repercussions of the release of this film, we can think about the power film has in terms of positively affecting society." His next film would go against all expectations of him.
50년은 더 젊어 보이게 해드릴게요.
말을 하되 고맙니.
A comedy about a 74-year-old woman who finds herself in the body of a 20-year-old. Miss Granny became a huge box office hit. Despite its light-hearted nature, the film still touched upon themes of aging and becoming invisible in society.
군사들을 모두 죽일 순 없습니다.
And his most recent film, The Fortress, set during the Qing invasion of Joseon, explored the idea of survival at any cost, a theme at the very core of Squid Game. In 2019, the stars would finally align. Hwang was now an established name, Netflix were in the markets for Korean drama, and the world was a different place. A once unrealistic pitch no longer seemed so outlandish. So much happened between 2009 and 2019, and globally, the wealth gap only exacerbated, which has driven so many more people into pain and struggle, Hwang explained in a recent interview. I think that's one of the reasons why Squid Game, resonated with so many people.
이 스퀴드 게임이란 세상은 지금 우리가 살고 있는 현대 이 자본주의 사회, 경쟁 사회의 어떤 하나의 은유라고 생각했어요. 상징. 더 나은 삶이 아니라 보다 좀 평등하고 공정하고 누구에게나 기회가 있는, 누군가를 밟고 일어서는 것이 아니라 누군가와 함께 살아갈 수 있는 그런 삶에 대한 추구, 그런 질문을 던지는 것이 오징어 게임의 진정한 메시지라고 생각합니다.
Hwang's vision was clear, Netflix believed in the project, and Squid Game was greenlit. Now came the challenge of transforming a 2-hour film script into a world-building 9-episode television series.
세상에 본 적이 없는 뭔가를 만들어내야 된다는 뜻 때문에 자칫 한 발만 미끄러지면 낭떠러지로 떨어질 수 있는 말도 안 되는 이 작품이 될 수도 있는 부분이어서
The pressure was on and the buck stopped at Hwang as the show's creator, director and writer. In my earlier days, I drank half a bottle of soju to get the creative juices flowing. I can't do that anymore, Hwang said in a 2021 interview. Writing Squid Game was harder than normal for me as it was a series, not a film. It took me 6 months to write and rewrite the first 2 episodes. He started with his protagonist, Gi-hun.
성기훈이라는 인물은 이제 처음 알고 있었던 사람들에게서 좀 아이디어를 따왔는데 어쨌든 루저였어요. 사회적으로 실패한, 다니던 회사에서도 정리해고 당하고 경제적인 이유로 이혼까지 당하고 엄마랑 같이 살면서 경마장이나 드나드는 우리 사회에서 볼 수 있는 가장 아주 추락한 중년 남자의 모습을 생각을 하고 기훈이라는 인물을 만들었었습니다.
굉장히 시나리오를 잘 쓰시는구나 라고 생각을 하고 이제 촬영에 임했는데 황동혁 감독님은 그냥 일반 영화 감독님 같지가 않고 무슨 이 개념 미술을 하는 작가 같다.
기훈에는 제 옛날의 모습도 조금 들어있었어요. 모자 쓰고 후질근한 잠바 입고 경마장 드나드는 모습이 제 대학교 때랑 너무 다 비슷하다고 해서 애들이 네가 입던 패션을 그대로 입힌 게 아니냐라는 그런 얘기를 저한테 했었어요.
It was important for Hwang that his characters feel authentic and reflect all margins of society.
주노동자인 알리나 노인을 대표하는 일남이나 여성을 대표하는 우리 새벽이든 아주 잘 나가던 엘리트, 하이 클래스였던 그 잘 나가던 엘리트였던 상우까지도 이 세상에 지금 우리가 살고 있는 대부분의 한 90%의 사람은 언제든 이 경쟁 사회 속에서 낙오되고 실패해서 바닥으로 떨어질 수 있다는 것을 보여주고 싶었어요. 그래서 어떤 알려진 배우가 그 역을 하는 게 아니라 마치 그냥 그 실제 인물이 시리즈에 등장한 것 같은 느낌을 주고 싶어서.
국적도 다른 친구도 있고 한데 그런 친구들과 만나서 그 앙상블이 뭉쳐진다는 것 자체가 참 신기하고 감독님의 역량이구나. 왜냐면 그 캐릭터 그대로 와 있으니까.
But Hwang's toughest obstacle was bringing his imagined world of vivid children's games into sinister life.
이걸 만들면서 가장 어려웠던 지점이 사실은 레퍼런스가 없는 작품이었거든요. 딱히 기존의 서바이벌 게임물이라고 하면 또 굉장히 음침하고 막 무섭고 막 그런 배경하에서 막 갇혀서 벌어지는 이런 일들인데 이건 또한 그 라스베가스의 카지노를 많이 떠올리면서 또 디자인을 했습니다. 그래서 그 카지노에 가면 창문이 없고 시계가 없거든요. 그리고 혹시 가신 분들은 알겠지만 그 호텔들에 가면 그 가짜 하늘과 가짜 석양과 가짜들로만 되어 있는 진짜 같은 공간이 그 안에서 게임에만 사람들에게 집중하도록 하는 그 묘한 느낌을 받았어요. 제가 이제 카지노에 갔을 때. 그런 아주 너무너무 유치하고 장난스럽고 우스꽝스러운 짓과 목숨이 걸린 짓이라는 것 사이에 어떤 그 컨트라스트 같은 것들을 좀 강조하고 싶었어요. 그래서 이걸 보면서 마찬가지로 이걸 웃으면서 봐야 할지 저 사람들을 비웃어줘야 할지 아니면 같이 떨리는 심정으로 조마조마하면서 봐야 할지 막 그런 것들이 이 장면이 코믹인지 호러인지.
Hwang was obsessive over every little detail.
지금 생각해도 의상, 미술, CG 회의를 이렇게 많이 한 작품이 있을까 싶을 정도로 저는 원래 회의를 좋아하지 않아서 이렇게 회의를 많이 하는 편이 아닌데
From tiny sound effects in the game, such as players falling through glass.
저는 처음에는 약간 그렇게 접근했죠. 와 떨어질 때도 더 센 소리 막 이렇게 해드릴까요? 막 근데 작고 소소한 거를 그대로 표현하기를 원하셨던 것 같아서 사운드적으로도 효과를 주는 것과 억지로 만드는 건 또 다르니까 뭘 어떻게 하고 싶다라는 게 그냥 딱딱 있으셨던 것 같아요.
to minor visual elements like what these masks symbolized.
다 이제 마스크랑도 또 관련된 부분인데 다들 마스크를 쓰니까 VIP들은 또 어떤 마스크를 씌울까 하다가 좀 어떤 힘과 파워를 상징하는 동물들의 마스크로 가면으로 가보자라는 이야기가 나와서 이제 뭐 물소라든가 뭐 사자라든가 호랑이라든가 독수리라든가 이런 그런 마스크를 상징적으로 씌우다 보니까 약간 그들이 있는 공간이 또 그렇다면 약간 좀 정글 같은.
Making Squid Game was an intense labor of love, and Hwang paid for it physically.
I read that you were so stressed during the first series of Squid Game that you lost 6 teeth.
8 or 9 teeth.
8 or 9 teeth? Wow.
But in the end, his sacrifice was worth it.
Squid Game is not like anything else on television. Think Hunger Games meets Parasite, a gory dystopian thriller on track to be the most watched streaming sensation ever.
A bona fide cultural phenomenon, sparking debate online, countless memes, and taking over Halloween 2021. Yes, that is me. Hwang was overwhelmed by the reaction and credited its success in part to the timing of its release.
이걸 찍고 있는 동안에 팬데믹 사태가 일어났고 팬데믹 사태를 겪으면서 전 세계에서 한국뿐만 아니라 빈부의 격차가 굉장히 심해지고 있다는 건 뉴스에서 보고 알았고 누구나 느끼고 있었습니다.
Global attention was then matched by industry recognition for its stars
Lee Jung-jae!
and for Hwang.
Hwang Dong-hyuk! Squid Game!
Since Squid Game got 14 nominations at the Emmys, people keep telling me like I made the history, but I don't think I made the history by myself. Because it was you who opened up the doors for Squid Game, invited us here tonight at the Emmys. So I believe, I have to say, we made all history together. And I truly hope Squid Game won't be the last non-English series to be here at the Emmys. And I also hope this won't be my last Emmy either.
They were trailblazers, the first Asians to win an Emmy, and even received medals from South Korea's president. Hwang thought the story would end here, but Netflix had other ideas. The first season of Squid Game was a cash cow, earning them £650 million. It spawned a real-life version of the show, a mobile game, and of course, plenty of merchandise and deals. So they predictably pushed for more, but Hwang's instinct was one season was enough. He said last year, "I had no intention of doing a second season because the overall process of writing, producing and directing the series was so challenging. I didn't think to do another one."
You were so stressed that you didn't want to do a second series.
Yes.
You were adamant. So why did you change your mind?
Money. 지금 시스템에서 시즌 1만 해서는 사실은 이렇게 빅 석세스를 거두었음에도 불구하고 경제적으로 이제 가져갈 수 있는 것이 사실은 없기 때문에 시즌 2를 해야 그 시즌 1의 성공에 대한 어떤 정도의 보상이 있기 때문에 그것도 사실은 큰 이유 중에 하나였어요.
Hwang wrote 13 episodes in just 6 months, split over 2 more seasons. It was a brutal workload.
People keep saying me like you are the happiest person in Korea. But in my mind, I'm not that happy. I'm struggling every day and night.
But despite his exhaustion, Hwang refused to phone it in and went further down the dystopian rabbit hole.
Squid Game season 2 and 3 will show people the bottom of this world, bottom of the human being.
Oh, so it gets even darker.
Yeah, it's getting darker by episode by episode.
A warning, the rest of this video contains spoilers for season 2 and 3, where Hwang made a different statement, this time a critique of democracy.
조금 새로운 주제를 가지고 이야기를 해보고 싶었어요. 그래서 시즌 1에서 한 번밖에 하지 않았던 그 남을 것인지 게임을 계속할 건지를 선택하는 그 투표를 게임을 절대로 우리가 억지를 시키는 것이 아니라 너희들이 그냥 선택해서 할 수밖에 없는 그런 게임이란 것을 보여주기 위한 프론트맨의 어떤 자신감의 선택이기도 하고 이제 감독의 의도로서는 창작자로서의 의도는 뭐 엄청나게 많은 선거들이 전 세계에서 자유민주주의 국가에서 벌어지고 있잖아요. 근데 오히려 점점 그 선거 때마다 서로가 다름을 오히려 확인하는 그런 점점 그 제도처럼 보이고 있는 게 요즘의 현실이라는 생각이 들었습니다. 그건 뭐
Hwang continued to add characters from minority groups. Take Shun-ju, a former soldier who was discharged after coming out as a trans woman. I wanted to have a character like that could represent yet another minority group in the second season, that would represent some of the most ostracized and pressured and oppressed groups in the current society. There was, in fact, actually a Korean individual who was a soldier who went through gender confirmation surgery during his service, and they were fired because of that, and that led to this individual taking their own life. I wanted to have a character who could really help contribute to lessening and really breaking away from these biases that there are in Korean society. And you'll notice that Ju is the most positive and righteous character all throughout the series. There was also more of a focus on the difficulties faced by today's youth.
시즌2를 준비하면서 살펴보니까 그 사이 또 세상이 많이 바뀌면서 젊은 친구들이 실제로 어떤 경제적인 어려움에 처하거나 빚을 지는 일들이 주변에 점점 더 많이 보이더라고요.
And in the final season, Squid Game critiqued the inaction of the police.
아니 왜 그런 걸 저한테 물어봐요? 그런 거 찾는 게 세금으로 월급 받는 경찰들이 할 일 아닙니까?
And focused on the battle to retain humanity in an inhumane world.
아직도 사람을 믿나?
As speculation grows about a spin-off, the season 3 finale signals the end of Hwang's involvement in the series. It closes an incredibly successful but testing chapter for him, one that he's ready to move on from.
It's more than like 5 years. I've been just working on this one project day and night. I'm so exhausted. I'm so sick of, So I need a break. I need a break. 제 다음 작품이요? 아직 정해진 건 없고요. 그냥 영화를 해볼까 하고.
Whatever it may be, it will surely follow in the same vein as Squid Game and his previous work. A razor-sharp social critique with a unique and gripping presentation offered up from the mind of a genius. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, then you should watch this profile of Jeremy Strong, an actor of immense talent, but one who is often misunderstood. Please consider subscribing, it really helps the channel grow, and comment on who you'd like unpacked next.